It was a trifecta for me. I am an Ohioan, native Ohioan. I am a son of immigrants, and I'm a passionate eater and cook. And so this sudden, national story about, this kind of dehumanization of immigrants based on what they eat. A couple things. First of all, in a lot of countries in the world with unstable political systems and high levels of violence, lies about what other people eat is actually crucial to how political violence happens. In India, where my family comes from, if you look at most episodes of lynchings or riots, it is Hindus and Muslims and rumors about, I smelled pork, I smelled beef, you're inappropriately smuggling something you shouldn't have been eating. A lot of countries in the world, taboos around food and violence. So this was what was happening in Ohio, is a playbook that is very familiar if you've covered politics in developing countries. It is a classic dehumanization thing to say these people are the other. They're, as Kendrick Lamar would say, they not like us. They eat differently from us. But it got me thinking, what do immigrants eat? Because immigrants don't eat what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are lying about. One thing immigrants eat in this country are flavors that everybody else eventually eats and capitalizes on, right? And then you have gochujang in fancy little new American restaurants, and you have fish sauce, in a vinaigrette several years later. But immigrants are people who bring that flavor to us. And what is multiracial democracy but flavor? Immigrants swallow their pride often to come to this country, come to places like Springfield, Ohio, often do jobs that they wouldn't have had to do back home. They're computer programmers back home. They work in a gas station in Springfield because they know that to rise in America, you must first fall sometimes. So they eat their own pride. They often eat very little in the hope that their children will eat like kings. They eat the cheapest food they can get at Costco because they can taste what their unborn grandchildren will eat one day. And when I was growing up in Ohio, my immigrant family, we ate, pasta some days because my mom actually really enjoyed the freedom that America gave her as an Indian woman to not spend all the time in the kitchen that Indian women like her would have spent back home. And sometimes we ate Indian food because she wanted us to have something of where she came from and to sustain the past forward. So these people are trying to get folks killed with lies about what immigrants eat. But I wanted to share with folks, in my experience, what immigrants do eat.
I had stored that video footage away right before the election there when Anand was talking about immigration and things, and that's the flavor and that's the demonization of people. And I wanted to show that for this appropriate message right here, because I don't know if those of you out there have heard about this 11-year-old in Texas that took her own life because she was being bullied. Kids at schools were telling her that she was going to be deported or her family's going to be deported. She's going to be left alone or all of this crazy stuff and tormenting her. And she took her life. And suicide's at an all-time high for ages 10 at ages 9 and 10, for sure. Because I remember that when I was in school, and it's really prevalent now more than ever. And it's sad that this is where we are in society. Because the reason why it makes me so angry is the fact that, that many people who profess and call themselves Christians have sat there and they're heartless. They're just mean, and they basically have taken part in this whole demonizing of people, of immigrants and things within society. Now, this message ain't for, I know some of you going to be, are you advocating for illegal immigrants to be here and all of that? No, this is all. We want to get to a heart issue. This is what we want to talk about. Because why would kids at 11 years old, you're maybe in 4th or 5th grade, somewhere in there. Kids are mean. I know bullying goes on for centuries. It's been just bullies. I mean, we got bullies that it never stops. And the sad thing is, it's a different age right now when it comes to bullying. Because you have social media, people record the bullying, and then they put it and it spreads like wildfire, and people are humiliated on different scales that is just crazy. And I know I was bullied, so I understand bullying and being fearful and not wanting to go to school and this high, I was bullied like heck a lot because I was small, I was malnourished, so I always had to fight. Then I'm scared not going to school, and my auntie didn't know that I was a lot of times playing hooky because I was threatened to be beat up the next day for something that I didn't even do anything. And then as I've gotten older, and as I started getting older, and by the time I got into high school, the rage was in me so bad that I wasn't thinking about taking my life, but I wanted to take others' lives. And I was trying to figure out, how can I make pipe bombs? How can I do some of these things? I wanted to do something to somebody or at one point, I remember saying, I'll take the whole school out. I was angry, really mad. And then when a bully tried to bother me one time, when I was about in 9th or 10th grade, and somebody warned me, he's in the neighborhood. And I had already got a long pocket knife. And I tried to, slice him up. So I understand bullying. And it's not, and we're in a society to where something needs to be done. And unfortunately, it just continues to get brushed aside. But what I want to talk about here is what is sad is that we have evangelicals, people that profess to be Christians. We've talked about it on this channel. They have wished death upon people that they think that basically they're lost. So because they're always in this political mindset. So death to any Democrat, death to somebody battling with their sexuality, death to somebody, anybody that doesn't subscribe to what they subscribe to. They wish death upon you. They call the death angel for people to fall upon people. And then when they see people of color, and unfortunately, many of this, and as you saw during that election time, and the lies that spread, that Haitians were eating cats and dogs and all of this stuff. You don't hear any of that no more, do you? Because it was all just a political game at the time. But they put people's lives in jeopardy and things like that. And I made a message back then about it. Because what burned me up about it is that these so-called faith leaders, Franklin Graham's, Tony Perkins, Robert Jeffress, all of the people that are rallying these evangelicals to stand up for America, stand up for society. You ain't hear one word from them, and you still ain't heard nothing from them. With these people's lives being threatened in all kinds of ways, and having people living in this because we don't know. As far as from what I've gathered so far, we don't know if the mother of this family, if they are illegal or not. But where did these kids get that information from? They're hearing it from their parents. They're hearing it from others. So they're getting it from elsewhere. At 10 years old, why would you be joking? Oh, we're gonna call ICE on your mama. We're gonna call ICE on the business. This is what's going on now in society. They're calling up you. They're threatening certain immigrant groups that we're going to call. We're going to turn you in, threatening all of this stuff. So people are in total fear. Some don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, do you want to be held and this taken in? And you don't know if you're taken in and if you be released or whatever. Be falsely. I've been over the years, during the racial profiling times where it was all at that all-time high, pulled over for no reason, illegally searched, false accusations. A time when I was younger that I just happened to be a black guy in a particular side of town, and a restaurant got robbed, and they thought that he must be the guy. And I get pulled over, 5 sheriffs and got guns all pointed at me and throwing me out and all of this stuff. And thank God for the manager when they brought him in, and it was dark at this time, and they shined the spotlight on me, just like as you see in the movies, and I'm standing there in handcuffs. And they shined the spotlight on me to show my face to this manager to see if I was one of the robbers and things. And he looked and said, and I just looked at him and I said, thank you. That I could have been falsely, arrested and charged and being locked up for something that I did not do. But you see, this is what's happening, unfortunately, and evangelicals think it's funny. You think it's funny. And you know what? The Lord don't think it's funny. Because everybody that is running in fear unnecessarily, or their lives are being threatened, or they actually lose their life. And these so-called phony faith leaders sit back and want to tell you about the love of Jesus Christ and all of that kind of stuff. But their hearts are wicked, as I've talked about it in the previous message. Their hearts are cold. These folks are heartless. Evangelical, do you think that that's okay to sit there because somebody, whatever is going on, you be thankful for your situation, that you are, that you have a job, that you have a house over your head, that that you were born here, and that you don't have to flee some type of crazy turmoil. Many people that are running their mouths, they ain't been around in no type situation to understand these types of situations that people are in. I've been around it. When I lived in San Diego, that was my first taste of it. Crossing the border as all the college kids go party in Tijuana, Mexico. And when you get down there, and man, all them kids are waiting to open the taxi doors, and they bare feet, and they're dirty, and they're begging for money, and I mean, it's like walking into another world. And when I saw that at the age of 18, and I'm like, oh my God, and realized how poor people were and things like that. That was my first experience of many more. And I've been around and I've talked, and I've got several immigrant friends. I know people that are illegal immigrants over the years and all of that. And being around the culture, that's why I said in a message many while back that some of you folks that think you're that's heartless, some of you need to join the Peace Corps. Some of you need to join the Peace Corps and take your tail overseas somewhere, and so you can get out there and experience and see what it is, and maybe, just maybe, you will develop a heart of some sort, because Jesus would never, ever subscribe to the hatred and bitterness and the silence that many of these folks continue to have. And on this channel, you know what? I get angry and fired up when stuff like this, and I'm going to continue to call it out. And I'm going to continue to shine the spotlight, as we always say, on the issues that the church run away from, and take the devil head on, punch it right in between the chops. Evangelism for God is the channel. My name is Maurice Braxton. Until the next video, let's continue to pray for folks, continue to pray for the lost, because that's the thing. There's souls out here of people that some of these folks are lost. And what a great time to be a witness for the Lord and make a difference and show the love of Christ to others. But what you're seeing from those within the church communities and circles is nothing but a whole bunch of hate. And all they're doing is pushing people away from Christ, and instead of trying to lead them and being an example in that light. And you know what? The Lord's watching every single move that they've done and that they've made, and he's going to deal with them. And I would not want to be in their shoes. So that's all I have to the next video, my friends. Take care. God bless.